Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Make It Happen Mondays with Chef Cherie. I'm Chef Cherie, the chef and owner of Global Love Catering and Personal Chef, based in Jacksonville, North Carolina. If you're not following me on social media, please do. I'm right here on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram at chef_Cherie. I'm also on LinkedIn as Cherie Hunter. Now, if you cook any of my dishes that you've seen, whether it's this episode or a past episode, please post them on Facebook and tag me in them. And use the hashtag Chef Cherie, hashtag Global Love Catering, hashtag Make It Happen Mondays. What do I have for you today? Well, today I have another special guest. I have my daughter Tatiana coming on today. Lately, what we've been talking about is teaching kids to cook, having them in the kitchen, tips and tricks and strategies to helping you teach your child how to cook and enjoy it to where they want to get into the kitchen. I've had David on, my youngest, in which he did a broth bowl. A broth bowl is simply a flavorful broth with veggies, and he put shrimp in his. And it was really good. And we also, that night, we also put dumplings in his broth bowl. Then we had Jonathan. Jonathan is simple, like my oldest child. Jonathan, we made sandwiches. And not your average grilled cheese sandwich. If you didn't see that, please take a look at last week's videos. We made yummy, delicious sandwiches in a sandwich maker, and we also did some in the skillet on the burner. Now, today, we have Tatiana coming on. Now, Tatiana is similar to David, and she likes Asian cuisine as much as I do. I love cooking Asian cuisine. She gets her love of it, honestly, because I cook it a lot, and she gravitates to it. So tonight, she's going to be showing you how she makes a ramen bowl. So, remember, when you have your kids in the kitchen, you have to have the time, the patience, make it fun, have the right utensils for their age, and also starting them out with the right dish. Now, Tatiana is 16, so she's been started with the right dish, and she has elevated and gotten very much more comfortable in the kitchen, and I'm very proud of that. She even likes doing baking. She bakes cakes, she bakes pies. She really gets in the kitchen and enjoys herself. So while she's doing on the sideline, let's go ahead and bring her on so we can start prepping and getting this dinner going. Oh, don't even say hello. Hi. So Tatiana, like David, I'm not going to call her complicated. I'm not going to say that. She's unique, and she enjoys cooking so much that she's actually started looking recipes up and looking up different ingredients. And so for today's episode, for her noodle bowl, her ramen bowl, I had to go to the Asian store in order to pick up ingredients that she wanted, that she said she needed to do her dish. So what Tatiana is doing right now is getting her onion together. Tatiana, go ahead and turn the kettle on It's already got water in it. So to make this process go a little faster, we're going to boil our water in the kettle. Now, if you don't have a kettle, that's fine. You can start it on the stove. But the thing is, Tatiana's noodle bowl is going to be cooked in 2 parts. Well, technically 3. We're going to have the broth, the veggies, and then the noodles. Now, what I like to do is for my kids, I buy packs of ramen noodles. They never use the season pack. They always come up with their own seasoning, mix their own. The season pack actually just gets tossed in the trash. We don't keep it. We don't use it. We don't need all the extra sodium. Like I've said, we prefer to control the sodium ourselves. So these are the noodles that we're going to be using. And we've got water over on the stove boiling so that we can cook our noodles separately. And for her broth, she is now prepping her onion. And the onion, are you going to have it there just for flavor, or are you going to, you're going to eat it? Okay. So, now remember when I had David on, David used a smaller knife. Remember I said the right tool for the age and the size of the child's hands. Tatiana is 16. She's a lot older. Therefore, her hands are a lot bigger. So a smaller knife would actually, she'd have a harder time using that knife. So using the bigger knife is ideal for her. Trying to decide how you want to cut it? Actually, you should have been doing that the other way. Yeah. You realize that? Just, do strips. So right now she's working on her Asian mirepoix. We'll call it that. Remember, mirepoix is onion, celery, and carrots. For Asian, it would be onions, sometimes celery, but you also have garlic and ginger. And for her dish, I've got a piece of ginger, not even an inch thick, a little more than an inch wide. Now, I did want to show you all, when it comes to peeling ginger, all you simply need is a spoon, or you can use a knife. But the skin on ginger is thin. It's thin enough to where you can simply scrape and you waste less ginger this way. Now, the ginger is simply going to be here for flavor. Tatiana prefers her ginger pickled. So, we are just going to take our piece of ginger, and she wants to do all the cutting. I guess I'll just stand here and chit chat with you all and talk to you all. So, I had to go get ingredients for Tatiana's dish tonight. One of the things that she had me get was, how do you pronounce the mushroom? Enoco. This is enoco mushrooms. And I don't know how to prep these mushrooms. If you want to try and find these, it's spelled Enoki. So she's going to be prepping those in a minute. Now, once we get our broth going, Tatiana's protein is going to be salmon for this dish. And if you saw one of my previous episodes where I did salmon 2 ways, I buy my salmon already cut and portioned in packages. So we've got 2 fillets off to the side and ready. So our water's almost ready. So that's going to go into our pot, and then our onion and ginger, and then we've got 2 cloves of garlic that I'll go ahead and prep. Yeah, if you want to. So I'm just going to give the garlic a slight smash. Now once again, the garlic in this dish is, you can eat it, but it's mainly for the flavor as the aromatic portion. So, gotten rid of that.
Christine and Jim says hi.
Hello. I'm going to reach over you for just a minute. So, I'm going to take the ends off of the garlic. And Tatiana whispered in my ear, I don't know if you all heard her, she said she's going to eat the garlic. So I would just smash the garlic lightly just to crack it open if I was using it simply for the flavor, for aromatics. But she says she's going to end up eating the garlic. So that she doesn't end up with a really big chunk of garlic, I'm just going to give this garlic a few cuts, a few slice throughs. So in addition to our onion, our garlic, and our ginger, we've got some Chinese 5-spice, and which you all know, those that don't know, I do not buy store-bought Chinese 5-spice. Not saying that store-bought Chinese 5-spice is bad. I'm not saying that at all. I just prefer to make my own because there are certain elements in Chinese 5-spice that I want a little more prominent in the flavor profile. Okay, so I like to toast and grind my own spices and make my own Chinese 5-spice. So I have this, and I also have this spicy chili pepper seasoning. Is called Nami Togarashi, and I've used this before when I do ramen bowls. It's got black sesame seeds, white sesame seeds, chili pepper, and chili pepper, black pepper, ginger, a little seaweed. So it gives it a kick without being overpowering. So we're also going to use some of this. Now, if you can get to an Asian market and you can find, just like we have chicken bouillon and beef bouillon, vegetable bouillon, there are Asian bouillons as well. Some are more suited for chicken and poultry. Well, chicken is poultry, but chicken and turkey. And then some are better suited for seafood. And I have 2 different ones that I like to use when I'm doing seafood. So if Tatiana wants, she can add one of these bouillon to her broth, in addition to your miso. So our water over here is boiled. So let's go ahead and get this going. I'm sorry?
Gail says hi.
Hello, Miss Gail. Okay. Let me correct myself. Hi, Mom. So, we are going to just add our onion and garlic. And where'd you put the garlic? Did you move it over?
It was in the pot.
Okay. Okay. So, we've got our onion, ginger and garlic in. Now, we're going to go with the miso. I'm going to go ahead and add only roughly about a teaspoon of the Chinese 5-spice. Off in there. Hey, she got it. It's just it's how it's packaged. Yep. And Tatiana likes spice, but she doesn't like a lot of spice. Depends on what it is. If she's eating wings, she likes some spicy. So we are going to go about 1/4 of a teaspoon, about there, of, I'm going to back up. She going to add a few more dashes off in there. So, and also to this, go ahead. We're going to add, this is a miso paste. It's a double stage fermented red miso. Now, it can be a bit stringy, so that's why she's using a strainer to make sure she doesn't get any of the stringiness, and it helps dissolve the miso. In addition to the miso, we're going to add, I'm sorry, that pepper got me. That pepper just hit my nose. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And that's going to help give us a bit of color in our broth. I don't know how to use chopsticks. My daughter does. She's insisted. Tatiana does. So I'm going to let her have at that. Now, while that's boiling, what I'm going to do is go ahead and prep the salmon. Now, we don't want wet salmon. We want to kind of pat it dry. So remember, this is how I buy my salmon. Prepackaged, frozen. So whenever they want to cook lunch, or it's a Friday night and they're cooking themselves some dinner, they want salmon, they don't have to worry about pulling out a whole big old salmon and defrosting it. Now I'm stuck having to cook the rest of it, or not being able to because they don't want to fool with the big piece of salmon. So we're going to pull these out. Now Tatiana is my only girl. For those of you that don't know, I have 4 children, 3 boys and 1 girl. And
Not working.
what's not working?
Trying to open it. It's not working.
Scissors.
Thank you.
So I'm just gonna pat this salmon just a bit, not too much. I'm not worried about it too much. You're gonna only need 1.
Yeah, this size is a bit cute.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hand me the strainer?
The strainer. Mm-hmm. Okay, so our water over here is boiling. Cooking the noodles 3 to 4 minutes, as the package says. What?
How long do you want to cook it?
How long do you want your noodles to cook? How long do you cook them? Okay. So And like I said, the season pack is going right in the trash. We don't fool with it. We don't save it. So your bok choy, you want to cut it and put the stems in there, or do you want to put it all in there about the same time? She's going to cut it. Okay, so she's got all her aromatic veggies in. Now she's going to work on prepping the veggies that are going to actually be more a part of the bowl. Now, our broth is boiling. It's been boiling for a good 5 minutes. Now we're going to turn this heat down. And we're going to turn it down to a light simmer. Okay, because at this point we're getting ready to put the salmon in. And if you put the salmon in with it at a rolling boil, once it starts to cook, your salmon is going to break up and be in pieces. Now, if you want it that way, you can. But Tatiana is actually in the process. Tatiana has a job. She has a job. And yes, I said it.
No, it's like the way you said it.
Oh, the way I said it.
Yeah.
Now you know I'm silly like that. She talking like this is new. Okay, so, and we're actually making this for her lunch at work. So, our pot is slowed down on the boiling. It's at a good point that I'm happy with. So I'm just going to gently drop the salmon in there. And the broth is actually ready when the salmon is cooked. So now we're going to move on to sauteing her veggies, working on the veggies. So I'm going to turn this burner on over here to about a medium low. We're going to move this over here so that can continue to cook. It's fine because we're not ready to start sauteing. You can leave it there. It's off. So the only thing she did with the bok choy is just like a stalk of celery. She just pulled off each one and then cut the bottom off of it. You can if you want, but you don't have to. Which one did you grab? You grabbed the one that's gonna julienne, I believe. Let me see. She's decided to try and get fancy. No, it'll give you strips.
I want strips.
You want strips?
It's probably thicker strips, but that'll be fine.
Everybody's loving this dynamic duo of y'all.
What dynamic duo?
The way we're working together.
Actually, she could cook for me any day.
Yes, and there are days where she does cook for me as well.
Christine said future chef.
Say that a little louder.
That's not that age.
She says she writes books. You said future chef. She says future author. Which brings me, I have an announcement. Lately, I have been working on a project with 2 other dynamic women. Nicolette Cipollina, I believe I just said her last name wrong. Nicolette, I do apologize. And Teresa Campbell. We're writing a book. The title of the book is My soul says yes. It's an inspirational book about our lives and the things that we've gone through and the things that we've overcome. Now, pre-sales for this book start tomorrow. Stay tuned to my page for the information on that. And if you have any questions about the book, please leave them down in the comments and I will get back to them. Okay, so Tatiana, this is how chunky you want these, or are you going down a little more? No? Okay. So we've got our salmon over here poaching away. It's cooking nicely. When you're poaching, you do not want, I'll leave it there, your water to boil. Light simmer at most. So, and I was just making sure. So right now, if we take a look at this pot, it's not even boiling. Okay, but I can assure you that the salmon is cooking. That's why you bring it up to a boil and then you turn it down and you cook it and let it poach. That is what poaching is. Poaching is not a rolling boil. It is less than a simmer. It's just very hot liquid, continual hot liquid, which cooks your protein. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cut this onion so that we can start sauteing the veggies. How do you want this onion? You want it in big dice?
Just dice. Small dice.
Small dice. Okay.
Christine said, great job, Tatiana. You know what you're doing.
Yes.
Maybe.
Is that too big? Or is that good?
No, that's
That's
good.
good? Okay.
Waiting until Sean gets in the kitchen. It'll be an experiment in here.
It is not going to be an experiment.
Sean.
Yes, but he is not experimenting on my watch. Not on my show. Okay, so I'm going to start getting this onion going. And because she's still working on the other veggies, we're going to put it on a low heat. I'm sorry?
Can you put these in here so they can start getting soft?
Okay. Okay. So we are going to add a little cooking oil, not a lot. Okay. Let that heat up just a touch. And Tatiana, if you'll slide over so I can go ahead and strain these noodles. Is this what you're talking about or no?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll turn this off. Got our strainer. And we're just going to strain the noodles. We don't need any of the broth, any of the cooking liquid.
Unless we were making a thick sauce.
Yes, unless we were making a thicker sauce, then we would hold on to some of the pasta. So that's that. And we're going to rinse this off just a bit to help stop the cooking process so it doesn't completely overcook. Okay, so that's it on the noodles. Sit that there. Now, pan is hot. Let's go ahead and add our onion. And she would like the zucchini. Add it in. Come on. And she's got yellow and orange.
Red too. Maybe?
No, only orange and yellow. You all used all, they used all of the red bell peppers. So the only thing that was left is orange and yellow. Okay. So in addition to the mushrooms that she had me going Asian store to Asian store looking for,
You did?
yes, I had to go to more than one
I thought you
Asian
only had-
store.
Oh, that's amazing.
No, they didn't have any here in Jacksonville, so I had to go all the way to Wilmington.
Dad
to
told me
find
that
them.
you guys were going to the Wilmington one.
So in addition to that, she wanted seasoned, roasted, she wanted seaweed, nori. Well, I did not get the sesame seed
Because that's in there.
because this seaweed, this nori, has sesame seeds in it.
Improvising.
Tatiana, just to add, if I wanted to add an egg in my ramen, when would I add it to the broth to cook?
It would depend on how you want to have your egg cooked. It's like most. Okay, I'm gonna correct you on it. Okay.
Don't
Ramen
correct. Okay.
is Japanese more so, not Asian.
Okay.
And most Japanese people put an egg, do a soft-boiled egg where they puncture a little hole at the top of their egg and boil that in a separate pot in separate water. It would really depend on if you want the flavor of your broth in it, or if you just want a straight egg with the ramen, which I like to do.
So do you do hard boiled or soft boiled egg?
A hard-boiled egg. I don't like a runny yolk,
You don't like a runny yolk, so
Even
you do
though
a hard boiled egg.
even though a soft-boiled egg and ramen is actually good. But
Yes.
doing that.
It adds more creaminess to it. So how are these?
Or poached?
Say again.
You said soft boiled or poached?
It depends on your preference. Tatiana doesn't like either. She does hard boiled eggs with her ramen. So if you like a bit of a runny yolk, you can. If you wanted to poach it, you could poach it right in your broth. If you're doing a poached egg, you can poach it in your broth the same way that we're poaching the salmon in the broth.
Teresa says, all right now, speak on it.
When do you want to add the bok choy in?
When these are done.
When your zucchini gets a little softer? Okay. Okay. So while that's cooking, Tatiana, because you ran through it and you didn't tell us
Oh,
how to clean the mushrooms.
I was supposed to do that?
Yes. So basically what she did,
I cut off the rooty,
she
woody
cut
end.
off the woody root end of it and then separated how much she wanted, which is right here. And she just pulled it apart in bunches, not completely individual, because you want it in a bit of a chunk. And she washed and rinsed it off under running water. And then she took a paper towel and patted it dry to get some of the water out.
The reason
off of
why
it.
you do it under running water is because there's some parts like the woody end, even if you do cut it, it would still have some pieces in there. So
Mhm.
you would do it to clean it.
And there you have it.
Teresa says, take a picture.
Teresa.
Wanna take a picture of the dish.
Oh, yes, definitely, we will. We most definitely will. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to check our salmon. And our salmon is almost ready. Firm to the touch. Doesn't have a lot of give to it. So I want to show you all something while she's doing that. Now, my children truly enjoy ramen, rather is Japanese or Asian cuisine. They enjoy it so much that last year, wasn't it? For Christmas,
Oh yeah.
what
Yeah.
I bought them, I put a ramen bowl together for them. Now, what do I'm not saying I cooked them a ramen dish. What I did was I found these adorable deep bowls with different characters, and then I went to the Asian store and got them the soup spoon, and I bought chopsticks, and I made each one of them a holder for their chopsticks. So this pretty, I'm sorry?
Did you talk about this?
No.
Well, let's go into it.
Sesame oil. Go very light on sesame oil. Sesame oil has a very strong flavor, but it is indeed very, very tasty. So I made these little pouches for them to keep their chopsticks in. And they love them. Every time they get ready to make ramen or a noodle bowl or a broth bowl, they each pull theirs out. And this one is Tatiana's, and she has pulled hers out for her ramen tonight.
Asks if you can repeat what Tatiana said about washing the mushroom.
Okay, so the mushrooms, these mushrooms have a woody stem. They grow, when they grow up together like this. So they basically have one stem together. You want to cut that woody part off and go up about 1/4 of an inch from the woody end and cut it off. And
Some of them have them marked. Some of
You gotta
them.
speak louder.
Oh.
yeah, because I have the mic on, you don't. So on some packaging, when you open it, it'll be marked where you should cut the woody stem off. This one didn't.
Yes, it did.
It did? Okay.
It had a line.
It had a line. So she cut at that line, and then she pulled off of the big clump how much she wanted, which was this amount here. And what she did is she took it in pieces and ran it underwater to make sure she removed all of the woody stem and all of the dirt. And then she patted them dry to remove as much of the water from washing them as possible.
You know, those are cooked by themselves.
And now her veggies are done. You've got that?
Maybe.
Teresa asks, cooking with your vegetables with chopsticks, can you recommend any other utensils to use?
A spoon. Or
A wooden
spatula.
spoon. If you're using a non-stick skillet, definitely a wooden spoon or spatula. Now, if you're using a stainless steel like I am, you can use a metal spoon. I don't use the chopsticks. I don't know how to use chopsticks.
Isn't working. I mean, should have gone with that bigger bowl.
Yeah. Tatiana was actually taught how to use chopsticks by her Uncle Mike, her dad's brother, taught her how to use chopsticks. Okay, so the mushrooms.
What do they call it again?
Inoko.
Enoki or
Inoko.
Inoko? Do you want to add some oil
Yes.
to the pan?
They will stick.
Okay. Nope, wrong way. Okay, so Tatiana just informed me that this type of mushroom needs to be cooked by itself.
It can, well, majority of the time it is, but it can be cooked with other veggies. I just want to try.
Okay, she said at times it can be cooked with other veggies, but it depends on how you want to eat them or where you're going to place them. A lot of times with this type of mushroom, it is actually just sat on top as a garnish, but it's a tasty garnish. In some noodle bowls, I've seen it just as a garnish. Let's go ahead and turn this heat up just a touch. Okay, so our broth is ready. We'll sit that there because the way this is built, we're going to add our broth in. We're going to add our broth in, then the noodles, and then the vegetables on top. Well, the vegetables off to one side, and then the salmon on top. So, I'm going to go ahead and ladle our broth in the bowl.
You want to show them how we're going to package it up for lunch?
Yes. Okay. So we've got our broth in the bowl. Now, we're going to add our noodles into the bowl and let the noodles and broth get to know each other. Okay. Right here. I'm going to bring it in a little closer so that you all can see. So just give it a stir. Okay. Now that we've got that in there, we are going to get some of our veggies here. And place it. And I'm going to move because she wants to use her chopsticks to plate her bowl. Okay. Okay. And now we are going to take, actually I'm going to bring this over here so that I can easily get to the salmon. And I just broke it. Sorry.
So good.
Then the salmon. Now, if you want to stop there, you can. But we like a bit of all of the elements. So, her seasoned seaweed. And she is going to place some of that on there. Now in the package, it's dried, it's been roasted and seasoned, and it's very crunchy, very, very hard. But the minute it hits the liquid, as she eats it, it softens.
I've been eating the whole video. What do you mean?
It softens.
Prefer crunchy, but
Prefer what?
it's normally the last thing you eat, put on there, and then you serve it right away.
Yes, because it will get completely soft and soggy. So, this is what Tatiana likes to make for lunch. And yes, she takes the time and she comes in the kitchen and she does work on this and she does put this together. Tonight was a little more because she normally doesn't do the seaweed, but she wanted to add the seaweed in there this time. So, remember, teaching a child to cook can always be fun.
How are you going to do the
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm
I'm trying to figure out what type of thing we would use. Would we use the bento box?
yes.
No, because it still need to be a way to heat it up.
You put the broth in there and everything else in your bento
Okay.
box. Remember, teaching a child to cook can be fun if you make it fun for them. Like I said, you have to have the time, the patience, make it fun for them, have the right utensils for them to cook, to enjoy themselves. So what Tatiana is going to show right now is we've plated it up for dinner tonight. Now, she's going to be packaging this to take with her for lunch at work. The way she would do that is using a bento box or a container with compartments so that you could put your noodles in one compartment, your vegetables and protein in another, and then you would have your broth in a small thermos. Now, I know this has Batman on it. I bought these a few years ago, and my kids would take their broth to school in here, or sometimes they would do ravioli. They'd heat up the ravioli, put it in the thermos, close it up, and yes, it does stay hot until lunchtime. So they had that. So she's got her noodles there, and then she's going to put her veggies in another compartment. Do you want to use the spoon? It's over there. The big spoon? No? Okay.
Later when I do the other video, I want to get the bigger ones for. So I
Okay.
can put them on the channel.
Mm-hmm. You got it? Yeah. Okay. And now you need the salmon. And we've got the other salmon here. Now for this to fit in here, we're going to have to break this in half. And so we're just going to break that in half. Don't do that. That's hot. Okay. And then the broth, we're going to put the broth here in her thermos.
This isn't going to go. So you want to eat more than one bowl.
Mm-hmm. And then lit it up.
I thought the thermos was metal, so it couldn't go in the microwave. Where did I just put
The top, the lid is right there. Now it's packaged this way, but she's gonna need to take another bowl with her to put it together because it won't be a full bowl if she didn't. But this is the way that she would package it and put it in her lunch bag and take it to work with her. So remember, cooking with your kids is always fun. Teaching them is always an adventure. And when they start wanting different ingredients that you haven't even bought and used, like the enoco mushrooms, I've never cooked with those. That is something that she came across and wanted to cook with. Now, we all love mushrooms, except for my husband. He's over there behind the camera shaking his head at me. No, not everybody. I know you, Justin does not like mushrooms. But my kids are very adventurous. And if you show them and teach them early, yours can be adventurous as well. Yours could be adventurous, adventurous as well. As long as you take the time, have the patience, make it fun, they'll enjoy themselves, they'll learn to cook, and they'll do more cooking in the kitchen. And at times, and even with breakfast, you get to sleep in because they've taken care of breakfast already. You get up thinking, oh, I got to get up and cook breakfast. And you come downstairs, they've already made French toast, bacon, eggs, pancakes, waffles, whatever their heart's desires. Because not only do I make it fun for them to learn, I make it accessible for them to do it on their own. Now, you all can't see, but I have a board off to the side that has a pancake batter recipe, a waffle batter recipe. Over there, a muffin. So if they want to, they can. They know how to read a recipe because we've gone over it, and they make muffins. They make the pancakes. They make the waffles, the French toast, and they enjoy themselves. Now, make sure you're following me here on social media. Follow me here on Facebook, and also follow me on Instagram as chef_Cherie. I'm also on LinkedIn as Cherie Hunter. And if you're looking to hire me or would like for me to teach your child or help you teach your child how to cook, please go to my website at www.globallovecatering.com and message me. Send me an email from my website, and I will definitely get back with you and talk to you. And also, if you make this noodle bowl, this ramen bowl, or any of the dishes that you've seen me do here on this show, please tag me in those using the hashtag #ChefCherie, #GlobalLoveCatering, #MakeItHappenMonday. And remember, stay tuned to my Facebook page because I will have more details on that book, My Soul Says Yes, that I am co-writing, and pre-sales do start tomorrow. Until next Monday, where I will have my oldest, Sean Hunter, who actually now lives on his own. He's going to come and he's going to show us exactly what it is that he's been cooking at his own place. So until next week, be blessed, be safe. Bye.